Now, Pavarotti was a good friend.
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti, and I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. As a disclaimer, this channel is for entertainment purposes. These are my opinions, and I'm not here to slander anyone. So let's go ahead and get into it. In tonight's episode, we will discuss the possible ramifications of our due diligence in this case. Folks, there is no doubt that there was a plan in place to move this trial to Lewiston, to the Nez Perce County Courthouse, where John Judge, the judge, would be presiding over this big case to protect all of the people involved in this case in the university and his reputation. And that plan was going to be carried out to fulfillment, except for some savvy maneuvering by the defense in this case. And I'd like to say a little help from the YouTube community, pointing out things like their plan to move this thing to Nez Perce has sent this thing completely awry to the plan that they had. So I can look at it one of two ways. One way is I made a hard prediction. Change of venue would be granted, number one. Number two, change of venue to Nez Perce County Courthouse. Okay, well, I was 1 for 2. Missed on the Nez Perce County Courthouse, but let me assure you, my prediction about the Nez Perce County Courthouse absolutely played in the judge's decision to change the venue outside of his judicial district and remove himself from this court case, because that's what's happened. In this episode, we're going to discuss exactly what's happening, shine a light on everything that we're going to be looking forward to in this case now, and we're even going to zero in not only on where the trial is going to take place now, but who may be the presiding judge over the case, and how that's going to impact Santa Claus and his band of merry women in prosecuting the case now. Big things are happening in the Bryan Kohberger case, folks, and it's a pleasure of mine to be a part of these things. So let's get into it. New court docs were dropped on the change of venue. Okay, we've got to start right here in the conclusion and order of John Judge's change of venue ruling. And let's make it where we can write on it, shall we? Let's see here. Okay. Now, Kohberger's motion to change venue is granted pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 21A and 21B, consistent with the language of Idaho Criminal Rule 21C2B. This court orders a transfer of venue without specifying the new place of venue, in quotations, and refers the case to the administrative director of the courts for assignment by the Supreme Court to a court of proper venue in another judicial district, and assignment of a specific judge to preside in the criminal proceeding. Okay, so this is big. It's not going to Nez Perce because of this right here, in another judicial district. John Judge was the administrative district judge over the 2nd District. By him changing the venue, by granting that motion without specifying the new place of venue, that means without him telling you what the new place of venue is. But you don't have to tell us, John Judge, because you ruled on Idaho Criminal Rule 21 for change of venue and 21B. Remember, 21B was convenience of parties involved, okay? And I'm going to get into that more here in just a minute, as well as this 21C2B. All right, but out of the judicial district means out of Latah, Kootenai, or Lewiston, the Nez Perce County Courthouse, where they really wanted this thing to go. And this is why you know that this was not a decision he wanted to make, because as soon as he goes into another judicial district, he goes ahead and he's removing himself as the judge in the case. If he could have moved this to Lewiston, to the Nez Perce County Courthouse, you can bet he would have stayed on as judge. But let's take a look at it, because we've got to go to this Idaho Rule 21. Wait a minute. So I state it correctly. Idaho Rule 21C2B. Okay? So we go over here to Idaho Rule 21C2B. This is it. If the original judge does not desire to continue the assignment over the case. Okay, now C2A was if the judge desired to continue to be over the case. So this is saying that John Judge does not want to be judge over the case anymore now that it's transferred out of his district. So the judge must enter an order transferring the case without specifying the new place of venue. So without specifying, without telling you what the new place of venue is. And then he refers the case to the administrative director of the courts for assignment by the Supreme Court to accord a proper venue in another judicial district and assignment of a specific judge to preside in the criminal proceeding. So now it's over the Supreme Court to select a court of proper venue in another judicial district. But because of the ruling of John Judge right here, because of his ruling, and he ruled it pursuant to Criminal Rule 21A and 21B, well, the Supreme Court has to follow his ruling on the 21B determination. And let me explain what that means. This is also out of his order. This is right above his final order, but this is specifying some of the reasons why the 21B is necessary in his ruling. He says, while traveling to another county for 3 months is indeed inconvenient for the attorneys, the court, some family members of the victims, and some witnesses, having the trial at the Latah County Courthouse would also be inconvenient in numerous ways, and beyond that, would present serious safety risks. Thus, the interest of justice requires that the trial be moved to a venue with the resources, both in terms of personnel and space necessary to effectively and efficiently handle a trial of this magnitude and length, so that the parties in the court can focus on the case and not the peripheral issues. Okay, so that is a main part of his 21B ruling, which the Supreme Court has to take into account when selecting the new venue. The new venue's already been selected, and let me explain why. Because when you go to, for example, there are 3 choices. This is Bannock County Courthouse, built in 1953. And certainly would not be efficient with those old building code standards and the limited space and the limited personnel, which means all of the police and the clerks and everybody needed in this case to be able to handle this case. That would absolutely eliminate this tiny little outdated courthouse in Bannock County. So Bannock's gone. Then we go over to Canyon County. Here's the Canyon County Courthouse, built in 1973. Obviously, the same factors apply as Bannock. Actually, the Canyon County Courthouse is a little bit smaller. The complex is bigger because it houses the detention center, the police station, and everything. No way would it be available to have the ability to accommodate the Bryan Kohberger trial. So that leaves with the only other county that was surveyed, and that is Aida. And here it is in Boise. This is the Aida County Courthouse. You can see this monster with all of the parking and all the accommodations and the personnel that is available to handle all the additional work of the clerks and the police and security. And it's already had that big trial with Chad Daybell, so they have experience in large trials. So here's where it's going, folks, right here to the Aida County Courthouse, which is a big plus for the defense. So no more questions about where this thing is. This is the only place it could possibly be held, is the Aida County Courthouse. And look how nice, 2002 up-to-date facilities. That's a good place for this trial, I think. I think that is a big win for the defense. Now, we're going to the Aida County Courthouse, so that means one of the judges are going to be picked from this list of Aida County District judges. And you can see there's several on this list, from Judge Peter Barton, Nancy Baskin, Joseph Borton, all the way down to Judge Cynthia Yee Wallace. Well, folks, I've taken the liberty to go ahead and narrow this list down for you as well. And let me show you how I did that. We can take this same list of judges, and we're going to go ahead and eliminate judges that would have too much other responsibilities to be able to preside over a 3-month trial, because that would leave all of their other responsibilities to be picked up by another judge, and they're not going to do that. Not in the case of some of the responsibilities that these judges have. For example, Judge Nancy Baskin, well, she is also a presiding judge over the drug court. So that means once a month, or probably more than once a month, she's having to manage the cases for all of the people in her case that is in drug court, which could literally be hundreds. So that one's gone. Judge Theodore Fleming, he is actually, he does 2 counties, Ada, and he's more over in Elmore, it said. So he's already got dual responsibilities. He's out. We go down here to Judge Patrick Miller. His complete background is environmental law, so he's out. Judge Lynn Norton, drug court as well, out. Judge Derek O'Neill, also drug court, out. Judge Jason D. Scott, again, he covers dual counties, too much responsibility, he's out. So the potential judges for this case are going to be Judge Peter Barton, Joseph Borton, Stephen Hippler, Jonathan Medema, and Cynthia Yee Wallace. And we're going to see if we can narrow it down further just from them. And you remember in the Chad Daybell case, it was different. His judge actually changed with the change of venue. He requested to stay on as judge, and he stayed on as judge throughout the entire case. John Judge, it's leaving his district. He's bailing, so he wants no part of it. I wonder why. Let's see here. Let's take a look at these guys. I think we can eliminate the administrative district judge for the 4th district, which is Judge Stephen Hippler, because of his responsibility as he is now the administrative district judge for the 4th district. He's not the deputy anymore. But we can eliminate him as the judge in this case because he is going to have to be the one to manage all of the logistics for this case. And that's going to be too much on his plate to manage the logistics and be the judge. So he did all the logistics managing for the Chad Daybell case as well. Almost every article about Chad Daybell consisted of Judge Stephen Hippler coordinating things. So we're going to eliminate him as the judge in this case because he's going to have enough work to do on his own. So that leaves us with 4. Next, we've got Joseph Borton, Judge Joseph Borton. Okay, and let's look at Joseph Borton's background here. He was, Brad Little announced today his appointment of Joseph Borton as the judge of the 4th District. He is a trial attorney with 27 years of litigation experience in trial on a wide array of civil and criminal matters. Okay, so he's managing a partner at Borton Lakey Law and Policy in Meridian. He's the current president of the Meridian City Council, where he served for 14 years. He's a community member, yada, 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 yada. But let's see, where is his education? Okay. He is a local graduate of Boise High School who earned his economics degree with honors from the University of Oregon and his Juris Doctorate from the University of Idaho College of Law. Okay, so we got a University of Idaho College of Law graduate here, and I think he's probably a good candidate for this case because of his 27 years of litigation experience in civil and criminal matters. So we'll put a little mark by Joseph Borton. He may be the guy. Let's keep going. Next, we've got Judge Peter Barton. Now, Peter Barton, he is the Honorable Judge for the 4th District. He was appointed by Bench Governor Butch in 2017. So he's got 7 years experience being a district judge. And let's see, prior to his appointment, he was a partner at Gibbons Pursley in Boise, having joined the firm as an associate in 2006. He was in private practice. His areas of practice included environmental, mining, agribusiness, and natural resources, and government regulations and administrative law. So I don't think he's a good candidate because he did not have a background in criminal law before his appointment as a judge. So we can probably eliminate Judge Peter Barton from our list as well. And let's see, who do we have now? Judge Jonathan Medema. Okay, let's see what he's got. He was appointed to the bench by former Governor Butch in 2015, so he's got 9 years. Prior to his appointment, he was a deputy prosecutor with the Aida County Prosecutor's Office since 1997. Okay, bachelor's degree in aeronautical and astronautical engineering from the University of Illinois. Aeronautical and astronautical engineering. This is a smart cookie. He then completed his JD at Seattle University School of Law. Okay. His relocation to Idaho in 1992 to work as an engineer in the Idaho National Laboratory. So this guy is literally an engineer, and he is now a judge and deputy prosecutor since 1997. So you figure from 1997 to 2015. So, that's a lot of years as a prosecutor. This is probably the one that they don't want to be appointed as the judge, but I think he's a good candidate as well. Put a check next to his name. Next, we have the Honorable Cynthia Yee Wallace. I looked it up. She was voted one of the Women of the Year in 2017, I believe. She was appointed 4th Judicial Judge January 5th, 2021. So she's only been there for a couple of years. But she has worked for over 8 years as a Deputy Attorney General in the Idaho Attorney General's office. So that gives her a lot of credentials there, a lot of credit. During her tenure, she held an assignment with Civil Litigation Division. She handled complex litigation, including class action lawsuits involving state and federal statutes and regulations, constitutional law claims, tort and administrative law claims. She taught complex litigation as a professor at Concord University of Law and advanced advocacy at the University of Idaho College of Law. And back to the University of Idaho. She was specialized in civil litigation, including complex litigation, insurance defense and coverage, property disputes, contract and commercial disputes, tort and employment law, and private practice. Okay, she got her bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Idaho, of course. All of her studies come from the University of Idaho, but she didn't have a criminal trial history before being appointed as a judge, so I don't think she's a good candidate either. So I believe that will narrow our list down to 2 potential judges. No, not Judge Peter Barton. I'm sorry, he's an environmental guy too. It's going to be either Medina, right here. It's either going to be Judge Jonathan Medina, who isn't affiliated with the University of Idaho, which is good, but he's got almost 20 years as a prosecutor, which means he's going to typically rule in favor of the prosecutor and not the defense, because that's the point of view that he comes from. But I think it's either going to be Judge Jonathan Medina or it's going to be Judge Joseph Borton, because of his litigation experience with criminal matters of 27 years. So I believe that's who it's going to be, either Joseph Borton or Jonathan Medina. So we've got it narrowed down pretty well there. Either way, the case is head and shoulders above where it was under John Judge in Latah County. And we didn't end up in the Nez Perce County Courthouse, which would have just been an extension of Latah County. So I'm going to call that a win for the home team. So, all of my faithful viewers out there that hang with me, I think we can chalk this one up as a win for all of us, because of the attention that we put out there on certain aspects of this case. Sometimes it just can't be ignored. In any kind of underhanded dealings or plans that the normal mainstream media outlets either won't look into enough to cover or don't care to look into enough to cover, they can usually get away with it. But nowadays, when you have people like us keeping an eye on things and trying to keep this game fair and being a referee of sorts in public opinion, I believe it does have an impact on decisions that are made, especially if those decisions aren't on the level. And I'm going to chalk it up as a win for us. So this thing's going to Ada County, there's no doubt, and I think we've narrowed it down to 2 possible judges. So we'll see how it plays out going forward. I don't believe, even though the first judge is a graduate of University of Idaho Law School, I still think he's probably going to be the better choice than the guy that was a prosecutor for 18 years in this case, if we have, if we had our druthers. But we'll keep our eyes open going forward to see what the official ruling is. I don't need any official rulings. I mean, I think we've determined where this thing's going and who's the possible presiding officers. But of course, we can't be 1,000% sure on everything, so we'll wait and see for the official ruling. But in the meantime, please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, your thoughts, criticisms. Until next time, Pavarotti is out.